monster.
I'm your number one fan.
Now clear your minds. Notice what scares you. It has from the very beginning.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
Just been informed that zombies have entered the building. They're at the door. They're coming in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. I'm your host, as always, Corey, and alongside me is my good pal, Frosty. What's going on, Frosty?
What's going on, everybody?
And alongside him is Tony. What's going on, Tony?
How's everyone doing out there?
So how you guys been?
Good. Just
Working. Same old shit, different week.
You guys actually went on a quite an amazing little adventure. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Went on. I know Eric at Scratch and Spin, our local shop that we always talk about. He had a record day sale on Saturday, so I met up with Frosty, and we kind of tooled around up there, and rummaged around and checked out all the deals and stuff like that. He had 50% off deal going on, so everything was half off, which was cool. So I picked up a couple things, and Frosty got a really, really quality stack of
I did. I picked up. I went in looking for specifically slashers, and my problem is I always try to stick to a theme. Usually when I go movie hunting, I'll go looking for the movie themed around what we're covering that week or that month. So I was like, all right, it's all about the slashers. Let's go. And then I go in there, and the first movie I pick up is Chud. I was like, damn it. So it just kind of snowballed from there. But I did pick up some good slashers. Sweatshop. Picked up Happy Birthday to Me, Laid to Rest. So yeah, I got some good ones. I got some good ones. So nice little stack. So yeah, that was fun. Shout out to Eric and Scratch and Spin, and he has such a cool little local business, and it was packed there too. And I think he's been putting on these events like just he'll have bands come in, free concert, and he'll do like sales on his movies and his vinyls and stuff. And he's starting to give back to his customers. You know what I mean? And it really shows. So he's doing something coming up where you can win. You have a chance to win like free concert tickets and like $500 towards his shop kind of deal. And I think that's really cool. So, I'm looking forward to that. So, but shout out to Eric and Scratch and Spin. That's we have a heart for that place. Any local listeners listening, definitely go check him out. He's over there off of 12th Street, right beside Zesto's. And everybody knows where Zesto's Chicken's at, the big cone in the sky. So
yeah.
So definitely go check that out. And we did go by the flea market too. So shout out to Brian. I don't know if he started listening to podcasts yet, but he's a pretty busy man. But shout out to him. I picked up some good stuff too. Got the 4K Blu-ray trilogy of Back to the Future. Then I picked up Death Note, the entire series, which is amazing. Especially if you're a horror fan. If you're a horror fan, it's awesome. If you're an anime fan, it's even better. And then it's both. So it's really good story. And that's actually one I really want Corey to borrow and watch because I've been talking about it for a while. I think he'd actually really like it.
I've been hyping it up for a while.
Yeah, it's good.
I need to check it out.
It's good. So, but
that's awesome.
But yeah, good stuff.
Well,
good hunt.
Yeah. Good hunt.
I'm jealous. I had to work.
All this money for movies and you can't ever go.
Nope. I'm saving up for later though.
Yeah.
Just gonna go buy the store.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, well, folks, we are on the suggestion review for the week, or for the month, shall I say. And we are doing slasher films. And the slasher film that was picked is Terrifier from 2016.
Yes,
So
it was.
quite an awesome pick, in my opinion. I'm glad we got that one.
Yeah, me too. I've been wanting to watch this one for a long time. It's been hyped up. Pretty much everyone I talked to, they're like, "Did you ever watch Terrifier?" Because it was on Netflix for the longest time. And I was like, "Nah, I never got a chance to check it out." Well, it's on Tubi. We champion Tubi on this show a lot, but I'm telling you, like, you haven't had a chance to check out Tubi. TUBI. If you got Roku, you on your phone, whatever. Like, it's we're not paid by Tubi by any means. We just champion them. They're awesome. They have such an awesome library on there. Like, it's insane, and they're constantly updating it. And I think whoever runs Tubi, I don't know if it's like just a collection of people or what, but you could definitely tell that they're fans of not only cinema, but definitely horror. Because when you go on there, like, they even have they had this thing for a while. It was like Shout Select series, and you click on the little tab, it takes you to all the releases from Shout Select, Scream Factory. So it's like, wow, so it's cool as hell. And then some movies you when you're searching through the categories, you'll see a little tab by the name, and it might have like who released the movie. So you might see like a little Vinegar Syndrome. Just as an example, you might see like a little logo, and I'm like, man, that's cool as hell, So it tells you, like, if you watch the movie, you like it, then you know who released it, and you can go check it out. So I say that's cool as hell.
That's a neat little feature that they include. That really is. But the cool thing about Tubi is, like you said, they definitely have a gigantic selection of horror, and it's not like your run of the mill titles. It's really, really obscure and odd and weird title. I'll be on there and I'll just every time I see, like, every time I go to a different section, I'm like, oh shit, like, there's another title I never thought I'd see on there, and then, oh wow, there's another one. It was just overwhelming at times. Sometimes you get too overwhelmed, you don't even know what to watch.
Yeah, and it does do that thing too, where if they like, if they rotate movies out, I don't think they necessarily take the movie off. You might have to search for it. Yeah. There are some movies like that. That's why, like, I get on TV pretty much every day, and I'm constantly seeing new stuff on there. Not that they rotate daily or weekly or anything. It's just there's so much on there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the cool thing is, it seems like whenever we go to do a review, magically that movie is on Tubi.
Yeah.
So it works out. That just goes to show, like, how much stuff there is on there.
Yeah, it really does. Like, it puts it in perspective for you. But if you do like a Google search on the movie that we're doing, and it pulls up, you'll see it on the bottom. It'll say on Tubi, free. So yeah, pretty neat, pretty cool.
So yeah, but yeah. Before we dive into the movie, I had to let you guys know that you are listening to the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. If you haven't figured that out already, you may be watching on YouTube. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. That would be awesome. Check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you can listen to podcasts. Leave a review. That would be amazing. If you want to follow us, there are a couple ways. We have a Facebook group, Midnight Monster Corner Podcast. It is a closed group. Ask nicely. We'll let you in. At least I will let you in. Corey might hang you upside down and cut you in half.
This is true.
I'm not saying he will do that, but there's always a good chance you have to watch him. He's a shiesty ball.
And I'll take a selfie afterwards.
We are on Twitter. So Monster_Corner. Follow us there. We do have a TikTok, Midnight Monster 20. And yeah, join the groups, join the socials, be a part of the discussions. We do, we're going to start doing more giveaways and stuff like that, and try to put out more content for you guys as this, whole pandemic kind of comes to a close. Maybe we can, start doing more stuff and actually be able to go out and maybe do some on location shows and stuff. Maybe a scratch and spin. So, but yeah, that would be awesome.
We've even talked about possibly even doing conventions too.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah, that is a thing. So, I mean, we can only do it, with your guys' help, your guys' support. So, you guys rock. We appreciate all the support that we've been getting so far, and got some new listeners. So, it's always a blast doing this for you guys. I enjoy it. For anything as an extra hobby on the side, I really enjoy doing this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's got me back into watching movies, and that's one of the things I've always loved doing. Albeit horror movies, which is hard to watch with a 4-year-old around, but
Well, as you get into collecting a lot more, you'll understand this. But I've said this time and time again on here, but I've been collecting for 10 plus years now, and it's really starting to almost give my collection a sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
'cause it's a way for me to kind of showcase what I have in my collection, what I've been watching, stuff like that.
Yep.
Especially more so with like Tony, because Tony actually does watch a lot more movies than the both of us combined.
Yeah.
And so if you guys will follow us on Letterboxd, even because you'll actually see what we're watching.
Mm-hmm. I tell you one of the best feelings, and you've done this to me quite often, Corey. But one of the best feelings is when you mention a horror movie, or just a movie in general, and then you have it in your collection. Like I was talking to David, came over a while back, and he was like, "Yeah, I was about to watch this movie. You ever seen a movie called Dead Zone?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I do. I have seen it." I got up and walked over to the case and pulled it out. He's like, "How do you just have that movie?" I was like, "I just do, son. I just do." Sit down. Let me tell you a great story. So,
to piggyback off that, Corey, I agree, man. It definitely it brings your collection, it gives you a sense of purpose and stuff like that to showcase what kind of things you're watching, and with me, a lot of the times if I'm watching something, I go on a theme. So the other week I was on the killer clown theme, so I was watching a lot of movies with killer clowns, obviously. So like I said, it happens from week to week. I'll post them on Letterboxd and showcase, and then do a review, or not a review, but a ranking. I'll give them the stars and everything, and then move on to the next one. So it's cool, man. It's cool and that's why we champion Letterboxd as well, because it's a really cool app to actually put, as far as Daniel does, he actually does reviews, and they're really awesome. So it's a cool little tool to use as a movie fan, and you network through Letterboxd too. So I follow, you follow people on Letterboxd, they find out about the show, and maybe they start listening, and it's really neat. And then I'll do the same thing with them. If they have a show or something, I'll check it out and start listening. So it's really cool for collector movie people like us to interact with other movie people. It's really,
I had a couple people follow me too, and that makes me feel good that they genuinely like what I have to write about. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I went out of my way to try to build some fan base on Letterboxd or nothing. I was just throwing out some reviews. Hell, I even got followed by Moods from 22 Shots, which I thought was kind of cool. Just randomly. I don't know if he's a fan of the show. Shout out.
Yeah.
That would be.
If you guys haven't, check out 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. Great podcast. If you're into 4-hour shows, he is long. They cover.
They do phenomenal work.
Yeah, they do great work, and very diverse group of characters on the show too. I will say that. They give you and that's the cool thing about the show is their opinions are so vastly different. You know what I mean? So you really get a colorful, and that's something that maybe we'll run into this when we do our review of eventually of The Prowler. Because Tony really championed that movie, and I watched it, and my review of that movie is way different than what Tony might think. I enjoyed it, but I have a lot of thoughts. Whereas Tony's man, it's fucking awesome. You guys check it out. You know what I mean? But it's constantly like that on that show. So it's a great show. So just a little plug in there for those guys. You definitely go check them out. But going back to Letterboxd, it's such a great app. For just a quick review. Because what I do if I'm out and looking at a movie and I'm like, this looks cool, but I'll check Letterboxd out, so I go on there and I'll scroll through, and if it's getting just 1 and 2 stars, it's kind of like risky, But like if you're seeing like somebody gave it a 4-star, 3.5, 4.5, 4, 3, and it's kind of bouncing like that, then it's like, okay, yeah, this movie might be worth checking out. Letterboxd reviews are usually on point. Maybe not always, like the movie we did last week, Most Likely to Die, kind of, I think, just overall got a worse rep than it probably should have. Mm-hmm. But, it was one of those deals where, like, you think this movie's bad. Like, we could show you bad,
Right.
But then again, I mean, it is what it is, The reviews are like that. They're so up and down,
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I'm always telling. Like, I got a friend of mine. He'll look at a Rotten Tomato or IMDb review, and it'll kind of sway him whether or not to watch the movie. And I'm like, you can't do that, because you go on IMDb and it'll be like this timeless classic on there, and it'll be like a 7.5, 8.
Yeah.
This movie should be getting a 9, 10, easy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure Citizen Kane has a stupid review on there, but everyone hails it as like one of the best movies of all time. But my point is, you can go and like find a movie like that on IMDb, and it'll be like this weird, skewed review. Like how did y'all even come up with this? So you can't always trust that. But Letterboxd is pretty solid. So
I tell you, I wish they had Letterboxd back when I was picking up A Christmas Nightmare.
Oh man, wish I had that back when I picked up any movie.
Yeah.
So folks, let's dive into it. Just a quick disclaimer, this thing will have lots of spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, turn this off, get on Tubi, watch it for free. It is an amazing film, in my opinion. I don't know what these two guys think of it, but I loved it. So we're probably going to ruin it for you. So go check it out before you watch this.
For you.
Now, with that being said, first thoughts, guys.
I've heard a lot about this movie. Pretty much everyone I talked to just has talked about how awesome it is. So I already had like high expectations going into the movie. Now I will say, I did have a couple scenes spoiled, or rather bad, because it was like, man, you got to watch this movie. There's this one scene where XYZ, and I was like, man, that sounds dope. Oh, there's this other scene where XYZ, and it's like, okay, I mean, that happens with movies, especially someone who's like really trying to get you into watch a movie. I kind of wish I'd went into this one more blind, and had gotten to that scene, then I'd have been like, oh no. But it's I thought it was great. I mean, this movie was filmed off of a budget of $800,000 from a director who had directed maybe one other indie film, starring the character in this movie. So he did All Hallows Eve, right?
Yes, he did.
What's his name? Damien Leone. Yes. Yeah. I mean, you could tell he's a fan of horror. Let's just put that out there. Like, this guy knows horror. He knows slashers.
I was going to say, in particular, slasher films. This guy knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, and this is what he did with his budget. He utilized every bit of that, and it come out the final product, fantastic indie slasher film. I mean, just hands down. And we had talked a little bit before we started recording. Like, this movie, it's a very simple movie. Tony, that was your words exactly, and it is a simple movie.
It's not complex, plot and everything. It's not. It's a slasher film. It's cool.
No, it does take place in 2 locations throughout the movie. Mostly one location, but it does have a restaurant scene, which I thought was pretty cool. Because something you usually see in indie movies is, for some reason, like, they just got to have that one location. It just takes place in that one location, which is not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
But
I really like that.
yeah, so
And again, keeping it simple, it just adds to the charm of the film.
right,
I
right.
like
Sometimes
how
simple's better.
well, I like how the more where they filmed the most shots at the one location. I guess we could say it was like a warehouse apartment type deal.
Yeah,
I mean, in my opinion, that they were able to use different levels of that building and was able to get away with, so you didn't feel like you were stuck at one location the entire time. They utilized what they had, in my opinion.
right, right.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I mean, the movie right off the rip, you are introduced to one of the characters in the movie, and you don't necessarily even know it. You think the movie kind of. You think the prologue is more so like a flashback, you know what I mean? But it really sets the stage of what this movie is about. Like you see that's one of the things I noted in my review. Like you see the psychological damage that this character does to his victims, and it's kind of like even if you survive, you don't truly survive,
Mm-mm.
because you're gone. Like and so it's a very appropriate title to the movie too. I feel like because he's just a sick, twisted, sadistic killer, And
Yeah.
we did note that there's really no background, there's no origin to the movie. It's just kind of like, here he is. There's Art the Clown, which I really like too, because it's just, it's like, okay, action, go. And his character, David Howard Thornton, playing Art the Clown, just did such a fantastic job. So
Classically trained. Yeah, he does this. It's actually what's the profession is to mime. So yeah, Art comes off more like a mime than really anything, because he's, he never utters a word. He doesn't speak. He's completely silent, and you can tell, like you guys said, he's a sadistic son of a bitch, and he gets off on torturing people and murdering people. Like he gets enjoyment out of it. There's even a scene where one of the characters, she's like, "Hey, he's laughing. He thinks what he's doing is funny, but it's not funny." Like she's explaining it to somebody that this guy is getting enjoyment out of it. He's loving every minute of it. Plays to his character as being a sadistic son of a bitch. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's perfect. But yeah, the hype behind this movie, I remember it like it was yesterday, man. Coming off of All Hallows Eve, we, the indie fans and stuff, we find out that Damien's going to make a standalone art film, and the hype was outstanding, man. It was crazy that people were like losing their minds when they find out that this movie was going to get made. I don't know how well like the pre-sales were and everything like that, but I gotta imagine they were hitting some heavy numbers, because man, people were going crazy for this. They wanted. I was included. I was like, man, I saw All Hallows Eve finding it as almost like a blind buy. No one ever, I didn't hear about it. I saw it at the store one time. I can't remember if it was Manifest or it might have been. Yeah, I think it was Manifest when Manifest was still around. Picked it up. I was like, oh, this looks cool, because they have Art's face on the cover. So I was like, oh wow, this is really neat. Let me check this out. I brought it home. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was an anthology film in a sense. So I had a good time with it. And then, finding out on Facebook, you follow you hear about the director and stuff like that, the guy that directed it, and he's going to make his own standalone film with the character of Art the Clown, and it's going to be a slasher film. So you sign me up. I'm ready. So the hype was there for me, man. And then when I finally got it, popped it in and watched it for the first time, I was thoroughly impressed, man. There was not a lot that I didn't enjoy. It hit all the beats for me that we talk about. It had everything you want in a slasher film. It was in there. So, yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. first time I watched it, and subsequent watches, I've enjoyed it. It's another movie I watch a lot around Halloween because it's got a little Halloween feel to it. Takes place during Halloween, so
Yeah.
it's really easy to get into that October, fall atmosphere and pop it in and watch it along with Halloween and all the other classics, Trick or Treat, all that stuff, man.
Yeah. I forgot it takes place during Halloween.
Yeah. It does. It's really cool, man, the way it's set up. And me, guys, I tell you guys all the time, I love when a slasher film has like the killer getting ready montage. He's making his weapons, he's getting ready, he's ready to start killing. Like, I love those montage sequences.
He's got his trash bag full of goodies.
full of like weapons and stuff like that.
Which
I was
strongest go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I really enjoy that he was that cat of nine tails that he has.
Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
That thing's gnarly, man. I dig the hell out of that.
Also, I'd like to know where he bought that trash bag, because that's got to be the strongest trash bag in the world.
It's gotta be. It's not. It's hefty, not wimpy. That's for sure.
Because not a single hole was punched in that bag.
Nope.
He had picks, knives, saws, a cat of nine tails.
He had it all in there.
Had it all. Yeah.
I agree, man. That is the world's strongest trash bag, no doubt.
Yeah. What do you think's in that bag? I don't know. Who cares? You care, lady. You care. But yeah, I love it how, and also going back to like the setting of it being during Halloween, kind of gives him freedom to go out and find his victims. Because it's like he's walking around in a damn clown outfit, and you're like, how's he getting away with this? Oh yeah, it's Halloween. No one gives a shit because everyone's dressed up, Right. So that's always a cool, cool little setting for the movie, or theme, I guess sub theme, being Halloween. So, but
I will say, so before this review, of course, I had a buddy of mine tell me about like a interview that Art the Clown and the director did one time. It was on YouTube, and I checked it out, and dude, yeah, like the whole time, Art the Clown is just standing there, not talking, just doing what he does and making faces and stuff like that to the camera. It is really fucking eerie that he goes into character like that. But I wouldn't mind seeing him at like a convention, and I would just be curious as to if he would be in like full character like that.
Well, I think did, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2 years ago he did Mad Monster in Arizona. So, because I was watching, I was like, oh man, they're gonna have Art. That's dope, man. That's so cool. I wish we would have got him over here on the East Coast, but never say never, man. There's always a chance he'll here.
Well, with the sequel coming out,
yeah,
maybe.
It's a good time to do it. No, I would love to meet him, man.
I would too.
He seems like a really cool guy. From all the interviews and stuff I've seen of him, he's really appreciative of all the love and support that Art's getting. Like, because people are talking like this is a modern day slasher icon now. I mean, he's up there with Victor Crowley and Sam and all those characters of like a modern day heavy hitter. So.
Yeah, I don't think he expected.
No, probably didn't.
I don't think he expected that at all, which is so cool. When you have such a cool character that you've embodied, and your professionalism shows through being a professional mime and being able to like do the things he did. Oh my, it's so eerie. Like, the scenes where he's smiling 1 minute and he just goes.
Oh yeah, in particular that scene in the restaurant when our two characters, Tara and Dawn, that we're following, go into the restaurant because they're completely drunk, so they're trying to sober up. So they go to this restaurant because Dawn doesn't want her friend Tara driving, excuse me, Tara doesn't want her friend Dawn driving. So she's like, "Let's go. I'm drunk too. Let's just go here to this restaurant and just sober up." And so they go in there. They run into Art before that and kind of have a little back and forth with him, not anything too crazy. They're messing with him and stuff like that. So then he follows them to the restaurant, and like you said, man, he'll just sit there and he'll smile at them 1 minute and then just stare at them and just glare at them and it just gets so uncomfortable
Yeah.
and really tense. So
Really built that tension.
exactly, It built that tension very well. Because Tara's staring at him the whole time, like freaking out, like starting to really get unsettled. So it's working. And then her friend Dawn's she's very bubbly, and she just doesn't give a shit about anything. So she goes over there and provokes him a little bit and takes a picture with him, just to kind of tell Tara, hey, it's just a dude in a costume, nothing wrong. Don't be concerned about it. It's not. He's harmless.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, he's not very harmless at all. This is the worst thing you've done, was to provoke him.
Yeah. And what do you think about her friend Dawn?
She's she was so bubbly and just,
Yeah, she was just she really embodied like the typical bubbly, carefree blonde that just is completely unaware that, like doesn't give a shit. I don't know if that was the alcohol speaking or if that's just her personality. Seemed like a bit of both.
I think she was more of a party animal, whereas Tara is a little more of a, I would say, down-to-earth person.
Yeah, like I'm here for the good time, but I'm not like, I'm also overly, cautious, and I can be that way sometimes too. So I could definitely relate with her in that sense. But Dawn was just so funny. Like the scene where her friend had to go pee, and who was her? Okay, was it Victoria?
That was Tara's sister.
Tara. Okay, yeah, you said that already. Sorry, I just overlooked the name here. I got IMDb pulled up. But Tara had to go pee, and they stopped, and her friend leans out the window. Let her use your bathroom, for God's sake. She'll make it worth your while. It's like implying that her friend's gonna give the dude sexual favors to let her use the bathroom. That was never part of the deal.
I like their relationship, man. They really feel like good friends. Like they really feel close.
Yeah.
And, they have good banter back and forth between each other. You don't get a lot of it, which is kind of unfortunate because they are really, clever with their dialogue and their quips back and forth. And I like because Tara is dressed like a skeleton girl and Dawn's dressed like the Scarecrow from, I guess, The Wizard of Oz. So she says, I think it was a nice little moment. She's like, if you only had a brain, because she's really bubbly. And I was like, oh, that's because, Wizard of Oz. So that's pretty. This little banter back and forth like that, I enjoyed that. You really believe their characters are really, tight and close friends. So it's awesome. I like that. I like that they included. I wonder if they had little leeway to improvise a lot of that stuff, or was it, strictly, on the script, and they were just reading it verbatim. I don't know, but it seemed like a little bit improv going on.
Yeah, definitely.
I can see that.
Can we talk about how this is possibly the only slasher where the killer writes his own name on the bathroom wall and feces?
And shit.
Art.
That scene was serious, man. I mean,
that was rough. Like poor guys had to clean that up.
He's holding up his hand.
Yeah, he's holding up his hands and shit all over his hands.
Really gnarly.
Like, grab a mop.
I better be getting paid overtime for this.
I love that whole pizzeria was so funny.
Yeah, it was good.
Those two guys.
Yeah. That was cool. But
I like the thing that Art did when he's staring at him for a while, and then he gets up, goes to one of the tables, picks up, somebody left the tip on the table, so he picks up a quarter, puts it in the change machine or in the machine, and gets one of those cheapo like rings, and then presents it to her.
Yeah.
To her. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think that was a little foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Kind of like you're mine.
Yeah.
Type deal.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Like right off the bat, he knew who his victims were going to be, Yeah. And everybody else was just kind of like circumstantial. Like they were just there.
when they're like standing by the car and stuff like that, and he's walking down the street, he just he zeroes in on them. So I think he that's my catch. Like that's what I'm going after. So he really locks into them before they even really say anything to him. because it even cuts to him and he's just got this really weird smile going on when he's watching them. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that head, and he's like, "Oh shit, I got you now!" Like your mind locked in on you, so you just know he's not letting up. He's going to be relentless the whole time. So yeah, definitely could tell that from jump.
What do you think about what he did to Steve, the pizzeria boss?
And the jack-o'-lantern head, that was dope.
The Steve Lantern.
Yeah,
that was sick.
Steve Lantern.
It's funny. It's funny. And I don't know how much of it could. This has got to be completely off kilter, but Halloween did the exact same thing. The remake of Halloween 2018 did the exact same thing with the character. They turned his head into a jack-o'-lantern. So,
really?
Yeah. I thought that was pretty odd.
Could have been a nod.
I mean, it could have been. I don't. It's crazy to think that a Halloween movie would pay a nod to like this indie slasher film, but who knows, man? I don't know. I just thought that was a pretty weird coincidence. It's like you don't see that very often, and then in the span of like a couple of years.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, because that movie came out after this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I like the Steve Lantern. Yeah, I dig it. That's pretty nice. And then what happened to the guy that was cleaning the shit out of the bathroom? That was pretty gnarly too. He was getting fucked up.
He was.
Yeah.
Poor
That fucking cleaver.
Yeah.
Leave it to
right
cleaver.
on the hand.
Which we could say the gore in this movie is fucking relentless, man. It's insane. Like you could definitely tell Damien's got like he's got like that prior special effects kind of background. Like the effects in this are gnarly as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all know that one scene in particular where they really showcase that amazing practicality.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, the practical effects of this movie was just outstanding. Just
It really was.
it was gory. It was relentless. They really went all in. Every little scene, even like the scene where he's stabbing Tara in the Achilles.
Oh god, yeah.
Like I think that scene was the worst.
Yeah,
because I was sitting there the whole time like, ow, fucking ow.
Anytime the Achilles is cut or something like that, oh, that makes me cringe every time.
Yeah, he's just like digging in too. Oh.
Yeah,
he was just like doing quick jabs. He really wasn't like trying to specifically cut the Achilles. He was just like wounding her to where she couldn't walk.
The cool thing about that scene too is is that tense scene where he's walking around the car and she's like kind of eyeballing his feet to see where he's going, and you think there's going to be a jump scare. I thought for certain that he was going to like look down the car and scare her. I was like, okay, it's coming. I know it's coming. But then next thing you know, he's right behind her, stabbing her in the Achilles. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that shit at all.
Yeah, subverting expectations.
Exactly, and I'm happy they did that.
I think because Damien's such a slasher fan, like he did that for a reason. Like I really think that was purposeful.
Yeah.
He knows what builds up to, a reveal or a scare and this and that in a typical slasher film. So he's going to kind of throw his own little spin on it and kind of switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just have to commend again David Howard Thornton's performance. Every little like mannerism that Art has, he really brings it to like the forefront. Like he's doing a lot of little things. He's doing a lot of physical physical like movements and stuff like that really bring a lot of depth to the character. There's little things he does. Like you see him, there's little movements he makes and he's always, happy go lucky, and then he gets really tense, and then he, just the way he moves. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but that's what he brings to the character. I think that's what makes this character his character.
Yeah, I definitely noted that in my review too. His on-screen antics is what I call him, because he does these little things, and that's something I was talking to David about this movie, because he was one that was championing it for a long time, and we were talking about it, how funny his character was too. Like there's scenes where you really shouldn't laugh, but you can't help it because his character is just that. His character could terrify you at the same one. no pun intended, can terrify you in one scene and the next just make you laugh. And that's kind of how slashers operate sometimes.
Mhm.
Like Friday the 13th Part 4, you can't help but laugh when fucking Gordon dives out the window like for no reason. Like, just little shit like that. It's so funny. But one scene in particular when he's when he's standing above Tara and he's got the gun, he pulls the trigger and there's no ammo in it, and he's just like, kind of shakes his head and he walks off to go get more ammo. Yeah. Or the scene where he kills the pest exterminator dude, not the ball one, but the other one, and he cuts his head off and he just looks at it, and then he puts it on the ground and just soccer kicks it across
the floor.
Like shit like that. It's like, what? But
I think of the scene, we're getting a little far ahead, but the scene where he's in the truck and he busts through with the truck, and then the music's playing, he's just like dancing to it.
Oh my gosh.
You could tell.
I love that scene.
So when he's in control, he is having fun with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's in control. He has everything in his control. He's having a blast. Like, he's having so much fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One thing I want.
I don't see anybody else portraying this character besides him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off, Corey.
You're fine.
I don't see anybody else stepping into those clown shoes and doing a better job than David Howard. I'm just saying. Like,
really? Has he been confirmed for the sequel?
Yes.
Awesome.
It will be.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Damien Leone apparently had tweeted out a while back, as I was looking through some stuff on Twitter, that I don't know if it was his Twitter or if it was just an article or review or interview, whatever. But apparently he said, y'all haven't seen anything yet. So
get gnarly in the sequel.
I've heard this one's going to be a lot more intense.
Wow, I can't wait,
Yeah.
man.
Can't wait either. I'm so hyped.
Because they did some pretty ballsy things in this movie. I don't want to jump ahead just yet, but so there's the diner scene, and then we go to the warehouse after our alleged final girl, or one of the main protagonists, really Tara. She gets captured.
Which right off the rip, you think that Tara is going to be your final girl?
Yeah. And I didn't want to jump ahead, but I mean, it's fine. I keep saying, they do some ballsy things in this movie, and one of them is they introduce this protagonist who you assume is going to be our final girl. She does die, which was crazy, because I wasn't expecting it.
Oh, good. So that's not one of the things that you were told before you went into it. That's good. Okay, cool.
Right? Yeah. No one told me that. And the scene where he's standing above her with a gun, I really thought there was gonna be some Deus Ex Machina moment where somebody busts in and either tackle him or scare him off or something. But there definitely was not that. That scene was long and drawn out, and you're kind of like, damn. It makes you, really sink. It really sinks in that is this character really dying right now? Because I was not expecting this.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, you kind of get your mind taken off the fact that she'd called her sister. Her sister was on the way, to come help her out because her tire was flat, presumably slashed by Terrifier, Art, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Terrifier. A James Cameron film. But which cool little trivia, when she's driving and they got the radio announcement about Art the Clown, there's an ambulance that drives by after they're on the radio, they're talking about the two pizzeria guys that got killed. The ambulance that drives by was completely unplanned.
Yeah.
It was just there. Which that's a pretty neat little.
That's good timing.
Yeah, it's very good time.
I thought you were going to say, well, I don't know if you guys heard, but there was a ad on the radio. I think it was for a Halloween store or something, but it was called Craven's Halloween something.
Mm-hmm.
Something. That was pretty cool. So there's a Craven.
Nod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
That was cool though. That I didn't know. I thought that was completely in the script and that was in the movie for a reason. I did not know that was just a random, call going through and the ambulance went by and stuff like that. I had no idea that was unscripted. That was crazy. That's one thing I had no idea going in. Wow, that's just really, really weird timing.
Just kind of makes you wonder too, like how much improvised this film actually was, because after that ambulance does pass by, that's when the news bulletin on the radio comes across, where it says that 2 people were massacred, at a pizzeria or whatever. Make sure you stay inside, stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty neat.
mm-hmm.
And then as soon as that happens, Dawn's sitting there, and then the door opens up, and you expect it to be Tara coming back in, but no, it's Art.
Yeah.
And then she turns, and he just slightly turns over to her, and I love that scene, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought he waved at her. Maybe he didn't.
Yeah, he just turns his head and looks at
He
her.
smiles, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he smiles.
Yeah, the fucking goofiest smile.
Always smiling.
With his ass teeth.
I love the fact that you don't know what happens at this point. Now, mind you, okay, so Tara's in the building. She's going to use the bathroom. Now, I do wanna go back to this bathroom. Isn't that like the dirtiest fucking bathroom you have ever witnessed in your life? That place is disgusting, dude.
You talking about the one in the warehouse?
Yeah, I've seen some pretty bad bathrooms, but this takes the cake. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And then I love the fact that she's like, "Oh, are you spraying for roaches?" And he's like, "No, worse, rats."
Rats. Yeah, what was this building? Like, who
I don't
hired?
know. It's like at one point somebody asked, "Are you the new tenant?" So it's like, "Oh, this is a warehouse /
Apartment complex or something.
office space." So at one point they're walking through cubicles.
Yeah, there's cubicles and stuff in there. So I don't know what the hell was going on. I don't know what that building was supposed to be.
A little of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Apparently you can run a chop shop and a business out of this thing and live there.
And live there.
Because the amount of cars that were in this warehouse was unreal.
Yeah.
So it looked like a chop shop to me too.
It really did.
But I love the fact that she comes out of the bathroom, she goes to walk out, and boom, Art is right there. Is he holding a scalpel or keys? I can't.
Scalpel. Yep, he's holding a scalpel. He's got both his hands up. That's my favorite scene in the movie. I love it.
Just standing there, so fucking creepy. Just like
it's so good, man.
Yeah.
The time perfect on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't expect it. You look up and he's right there.
Yeah.
And then he jumps at her, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a cool jump scare, not jump scare,
Yeah.
Because
it's like a jolt scare.
Jolt scare. Yeah, you don't know what he's gonna do because he's just like just chilling there with the scalpel. So he got blood on him.
Well, he's
he's
frozen,
constantly got blood on him.
Yeah, he's frozen, not moving at all. So it's like he's miming. Like it's one of those things. So you don't expect him to just jump back, and kind of make that move, but he does, and it's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, and just looking on IMDb, if you look at David Howard Thornton, and you look at pictures of Art the Clown, they did such a good job with makeup.
The makeup, yeah. Makeup.
It's insane because you don't really it's hard to tell it's him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Especially in one of his pictures, he's smiling. He has such a nice smile, and then you look at another picture where he's dressed up like Art and he's smiling, and it's like, oof. Makeup, it was on point in this movie. I want to, I could be wrong, but I want to feel like a lot of that budget was utilized for a lot of the practical effects and the makeup. Like he,
so.
I feel like, and this is just, I'm just going off conjecture here. I haven't read anything about Damien Leone, but I feel like this dude just had the hookup. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to make an indie film, but he knew who to call.
I was gonna make the point, and Corey, you kind of can probably see where I'm going with this. When you watch a lot of indie movies, especially a lot of indie slasher movies and stuff like that, they always get cameos from celebrities that have been in classic '80s horror films and
Yeah.
I mean, just
Yeah.
just the staples like Linnea Quigley, Kane Hodder,
Robert Englund.
Robert
like,
Englund. Yeah.
none of those. Nobody was in this movie. Nobody from previous horror films or anything. They were all fresh, like newer cast members.
Yeah.
Nobody that had any previous well, I'm sure some of them did, but not from like the heyday of horror. So I thought that was pretty interesting that he didn't go that route like almost like a lot of indie guys do that as like a gimmick to try to sell their movie. But no, he just like,
Yeah.
fuck it. I don't need a gimmick to sell my movie. I'm selling it as a badass like slasher film.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. The sequel will have at least 2 cameos.
I think so. I'm kind of curious about that. If they will have like
Could be
guys
wrong.
pop-
Well, I know it does have one. There is a YouTube. Well, I guess you would say like a YouTuber or whatever. I know he's in the film. I don't know how old he is, but he's kind of a young kid. Tony, you've probably seen him multiple times. He interviews metal bands like crazy. Short guy, glasses, bald. But yeah, he does. I don't know his name, but I know that he does a lot of like interviews with metal bands and stuff, and lead singers and stuff like that. So,
Man, that's interesting.
but yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about if they would have any because they didn't have any in this one. So I didn't know if he was going to go that route.
Yeah, and I don't know if he was just
So-
such a big fan of the show that he got asked to be on the movie or something. Or
I think in a way it's like so refreshing because you see that so much in movies that even slasher films like indie slashers that I really like will do that, and it's like okay, but no, this one refrains from doing that, and they kind of exercise a little bit of restraint, which I think is pretty cool. Like you don't see that very often. So kudos to Damien for doing that and just said like, dude, I got a badass like slasher villain on my hands. Like I don't need any cameos from anybody. I'm just gonna sell Art the Clown alone and the badass gore that I'm gonna have in it, and the kills are gonna be on point. And it worked.
the amount of word of mouth for this film too.
Enough was huge, dude. You
Looks like-
you couldn't be on an indie or horror Facebook group or at all without hearing about Art and Terrifier. Like it was impossible.
All right, so the full cast and crew has been released. So prediction out the window because now you can just look it up. Felicia Rose is in the movie.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, she plays a teacher. She plays a teacher.
Yeah, she's another one that does a lot of cameos. That's another.
That's
staple.
one. Some of these y'all probably recognize more than me. Maybe I'm overlooking. But yeah, I recognize Felicia Rose. She's in the movie. She's actually credited. When you go to IMDb and I clicked on it, she's like the first person that was credited.
Wow.
Is she gonna have a main role in this movie?
Interesting. Now I'm curious, man. Even more curious than I was originally.
Yeah. So that's pretty freaking cool.
Well, honestly, dude, I hope Terrifier turns into a franchise. I really do. Like, we need another big franchise. Like,
Yeah.
last one we had was, well, I mean, you want to count the wrong turns, and Hatchet for me was a big one.
Yeah.
I was hoping the Collector would become a big one, but it looks like that was dead and
That hurts my feelings right there.
that one too. But
I mean, Daniel, have you seen The Collector and The Collection?
I have not. I've had my eyes on it for a while.
So good.
I really, R.I.P. The Collected, man. I think that would have been great. The Collection, The Collector, and The Collected. I love that.
Yeah.
So
Maybe eventually it'll happen.
I hope so, dude. I really do. I want that movie. I really do.
I do too.
I want a sequel to Pieces of Talent.
I do too.
Still waiting.
Go Stauffer, please.
Yeah.
Come back. Make a movie.
If you're listening,
You're
if you're
amazing.
watching.
You have such a talent, brother. Come back. Make a movie, please.
Yeah.
If anything, I want to see more of that character. The what was his name?
David Long.
David Long. Yeah. God. Such a you tell me like, man, that's such a missed opportunity because he could definitely be like a horror movie icon. You know.
It's awesome, dude.
I could see it.
In
his tidy whities.
Tidy whities, yep.
So what do you guys think about how Art taunts his victims?
I dig it.
Let's
Love
talk
it.
about that.
I love it, man.
Again, like I said, when he feels that he's in control, he can have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, the whole where he's digging in the bag trying to find the perfect weapon.
Oh, that whole scene was magic, man. It was great.
Yeah.
He was psychologically breaking her down, torturing her, like just really fucking with her head and getting in her head. So,
yeah,
you know, and then it leads up to that scene where, you know, I
think we could talk about that.
The one that everyone talks about.
Yeah.
Split down the middle scene.
Yeah.
The old banana split.
Old banana split. And dude, that shit, how they pulled that off, wow.
It was really good looking.
Had a lot to do with editing because I noticed a lot of quick edits or a lot of quick cuts and everything like that. But it worked. It really worked. It sold the realism for me.
Yeah.
Because it felt like he was really cutting this chick in half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They went with this approach where, you know, they really wanted you to see the practical effects and the terror of like what it might feel like being hung upside down and cut in half. But they also sold on the fact that her best friend's having to watch this happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like that alone is like, it's rough. And then, you know, on top of like having to see her friend be killed and fighting for her life to survive, basically, then she ends up actually dying. You know, that scene was was tough for me because it's like, man, like she's been through hell and she can't even get out of it alive, you know.
Yeah.
Which really adds to like Art's character. Like he will not leave the prisoners, you know, like he's not gonna do something stupid and like let his, you know, it's cat and mouse, like he's gonna toy with his victims, but he's also gonna finish the job. And that's just really what makes him so terrifying.
Well, that scene to me that's the scene I struggle with because my one negative for Terrifier is that this is me personally, I don't like my slasher villains using guns and killing with guns. I can't stand it. I hate it. It drives me insane. And I wish that Damien didn't go in that direction with that, man. Especially with Tara's character. She was set up to be a final girl. She deserved something better than getting shot, man. Like it's like, really? That's what we're gonna do? Like we built up. I appreciate the fact that you had the balls to kill off your supposed final girl. That's gutsy, man. That's ballsy.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do that. That's a reason why they're called the final girl. But the way it was done, it's like, man, like it could have been. I don't know, man. It just I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I never have been a fan of it. It just drives me crazy. Yeah. I don't want to on it too long, but that's my one thing about it. Like, can't stand that.
Well, in my opinion, she was gonna beat his ass.
Yeah, she was tough too, man. That's another thing. Yeah. Like, she's tough. She's scrappy, man.
Yeah.
I just don't. I hate that her character meets a demise like that because of the way her character's set up and built up. I don't. It really bums me out.
And then they give you kind of almost a small sense of hope because even though she's been shot in the face, she's still alive. You know, and then he goes to that scene where he's like, I ran out of bullets.
No,
1 second, please.
It's cold-blooded shit the way he does it. You know, because he just, especially when he's just standing there staring, and then he just keeps firing more shots into her. Like, it's fucked up. Yeah. But man, I wish he could use a gun. I hate it.
Yeah.
I wish he would have just grabbed a knife at that point and ended it a little bit better.
I'm not a big fan of it, man. Just never really was. I can't.
I think that's probably my only beef with this whole movie.
The only thing I don't really like is that whole sequence, man.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say the sequence, but the weapon used. I just don't. Not
Yeah.
too.
So what do you think about when he meets the homeless woman?
I was gonna talk to you about the doll lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What a weird little character.
Who do you think's creepier, Art or the doll lady? He's
Well,
off kilter, man.
you kind of get a sense of Art's background there. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of got that a little bit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because at one point it almost showed like a sense of like motherly love, and it's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, you know, did he get turned this way because he had a sadistic mother?
Mhm.
You know,
Could have been.
that's what I took from that scene.
You really don't get like. You really can kind of piece something together from it and kind of think back and say, hey, you know, maybe this was psychological trauma and it just fucked him up. But there's you know, Art's he's not like a really hulking massive killer. Like he kind of subverts that expectation where you don't need a Jason Voorhees or a Michael Myers, like a, you know, Michael not so much in the original, but you don't need a big hulking, you know, killer. Like you can have this really skinny, lanky dude just fucking up everybody. Like it's so unassuming because he's not a big dude.
Yeah.
And you know, I wanted to throw that out there, but yeah, I definitely get vibes that he had, you know, problems with you know, that Freudian thing about the mom and, you know, psychological trauma, this, you know, stuff that we dealt with Maniac and Don't Go Into a House, which is another great film that kind of touches up on that. I kind of get that too. Yeah, you guys hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah.
I feel that same way.
Yeah. And then he almost took her. And again, it can go back to something that occurred in his childhood. Maybe it'll be explained a little bit more in the sequel. Because at this point he pulls, you know, he kind of pulls his, you know, his the homeless woman's skin off, and she scalped her. Now he's wearing it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that scene was eerie.
Yes, it was.
He almost like became her because he was like walking around, parading around as if he was her.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So again, was that going back to his mother issues if he has them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very.
I saw there was a good way to lure in. So now we're on Victoria because Tara's been killed, but her sister becomes our essential final girl, and that was a good way to lure her in to get her close because Art was wearing her, you know, her scalp and even her, you know, her boobs and stuff like that was fucked up. That was weird. But yeah.
Oh, we say breast on this show, Tony.
Breast. We're classy. But yeah, he does. He utilizes that and kind of looks like a victim himself. And she, you know, her being a good person, goes to this person in need to go to help, and then it cuts to, you know, the doll lady. She's missing skin and she's been scalped, and it's like, oh shit. And then it's Art, and it's like, wow, that was a pretty good little moment right there. He just didn't see that coming at all.
No.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you guys, you know, so we've covered Sleepaway Camp, and do you feel like the doll lady reminds me a lot of Aunt Martha, the way she acts? She's very off kilter and very unassuming, like the way that she's delivering her lines and stuff like that. It reminded me of Aunt Martha, like 100%.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way she delivered her lines, the way she was so unassuming. It was as soon as I see that.
And she was almost very formal too, even though she was like kind of a homeless person.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought that was pretty neat. Maybe that was another nod on Damien's part. I don't know. He's a big horror fan, so a lot of these things you could think is maybe a nod to. I'm sure he loves Sleepaway Camp. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Felicia Rose is in the second one.
Exactly. So I can't. that can't be a coincidence. And I like talking about this stuff because I'm wondering, it's like, is that a nod or is that just one hell of a coincidence? Who knows? You have to ask to really know, but you can always assume and kind of speculate. So,
right, yeah.
I was getting Aunt Martha vibes though from her.
I can definitely see that
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one kill that or pseudo kill, I guess, that kind of interested me was the fact that he never really finished off the exterminator guy. Like he just bopped him in the head, which I thought he assumed he killed him with the hammer. Then he smashes the phone, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, I got kind of confused there because, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, maybe he's taking his time and maybe he's doing more, what sort of, I guess, like torture and murder towards women. But then you think about, like, the pizzeria guys, he really fucked them up brutally.
Yeah.
So why didn't he do that to this guy? So might have been a loop in the, kind of a loophole a little bit. But I don't know if he wanted to get back to Victoria so fast or what.
He was so focused on her that he wasn't even really that was just second nature or second priority to him. Like it wasn't, his main priority. His main priority was the final girl. His main priority was chasing her down because he's really like relentless with her. He's fucking with her, and especially when he's got the skin suit on, and he's kind of parading around, and she's hiding in this thing, and he knows she's in there, and he's just kind of laughing, and just really fucking with her. So he definitely focuses his attention. He's a very focused guy, that Art the Clown. You wouldn't assume it, but he is. He focuses on his victims, and he wants to, like we said, break them down psychologically, fuck with them. He enjoys it. He gets off on it. Very evident. I think that's probably, he was so focused on her, he didn't even bother with the dude. He's like, oh, he's knocked out. I'll get to him later.
Yeah, because once again, he was taking his time and having fun because he was like on a bicycle, just kind of just riding it around. And
another scene I love. I love when he's on the trike, riding a little tiny.
and then he crashes.
Yeah.
Like just his on-screen antics, man. Those the best.
They're great.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a wise choice to just let him have room to play and just be ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because it really plays with your emotions too. Because you don't want to like him, but you can't help it because he's so funny. Yeah. And that's kind of why. I guess that's kind of why clowns are the way they are, because it's like a lot of people are just terrified of clowns.
Yeah.
But also they're there to kind of just make you laugh, Which I don't get all the clown all the clown phobia, because
if you try to sit down somebody that has that phobia and watch this, they will fucking flip out, man. This movie will big time.
100%.
Clowns and you're scared of clowns, you watch this, it'll put you in a psych ward. Like, no.
Yeah. 100%.
It'll traumatize you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think all the clown fear comes from cinema too, just Hollywood in general,
Definitely.
Like iterations of it and things of that sort,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or guys like John Wayne Gacy.
Oh,
well, that'll do it too.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that was definitely horror in itself.
Yeah,
exactly.
That reminds me, I watched watching this show called Murder Made Me Famous. It's on Tubi. It's a documentary series by Reels. But they go through like different people and the whole premise is like you never would have known who this person was had they not murdered someone. And there's some that are like, the husband, there was a pregnant lady who killed his pregnant wife and like dumped her body in the ocean, and there was this big thing, and they go through like all the interviews and stuff that he went through where like he was presumed innocent at the time, and you find out later, oh no, he did it. But I watched one last night on Jim Jones. Man, that was rough.
That is rough.
The Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah.
But no, you said Johnny Gacy. Remind me, he's on there on like one of the later seasons. So I'm looking forward to watching that one. So.
Yeah, that whole the clown thing is fucked up, man.
Yeah, it is. But kind of makes me want to do like a series on serial killers. Maybe we can make that happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Be something to into. I had a theory about art I wanted to bring up on the show, and I thought this was going to be pretty cool. So when I was watching the movie, and you see Art many, many times get injured, and he gets, like stabbed and kinds of stuff like happens to him. But he never he never outwardly expresses his pain and his grief and his agony. Like he's very silent, even when he gets stabbed and everything. Doesn't make a word. It doesn't make a sound. So in my mind, I was like, I wonder if he's got that disease where, some people in the world don't feel pain. Like I even wrote it down because I looked it up. I was like, I want to look up what that is. And I looked up the condition. It's called congenital analgesia, or basically like you don't feel pain. Like it's people that, if you break a bone, you'll never know it if you don't feel it. So I thought for a minute, maybe he doesn't feel anything. Maybe he just doesn't feel pain and he's impervious to it. But then you're watching the movie more. When he does get injured, it does look like he feels it because he makes like a impression that he feels it. Like he makes outward impression. So I'm like,
gesture.
Okay, well, this is probably like a gesture. So I was like, well, this is probably a theory that I can go ahead and throw out the window. I just thought that was interesting. I was like, I wonder if the guy doesn't feel pain. And then I thought about it. It's like, well, is Art set up? And this is why I'm really, really curious about the sequel that's coming out. In the beginning, I didn't know if Art was set up as a supernatural villain or not, because when we get toward the end, it's very clear that the guy is pretty supernatural. Like, he kind of.
Yeah.
And Tony, Daniel might not. You haven't seen All Hallows Eve, correct? You haven't seen that?
I haven't seen it, no.
Okay. It was in my opinion, leaving All Hallows Eve, that Art was a supernatural being. Yeah. Because he came out of like a VHS tape or something, right? Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. So.
Oh, but I do remember something to that effect.
Yeah. So I believe I fully believe that. I believe he's supernatural.
From the beginning,
pain just doesn't affect him. Maybe slows him down, but that's it.
Okay, that's what I was curious on. I don't. It's been a while since I've seen All Hallows Eve. I will admit it. I did enjoy it from what I remember, but it's been a minute, so I don't remember every aspect of that in particular segment. Mm-hmm. So, thinking about it this time, watching it this time, I was like, maybe I need to go back and watch All Hallows Eve and kind of get more from the character, and maybe that'll kind of set me up to where I'll know, hey, in the very beginning of the movie, when we start up, that Art is a supernatural villain, like from jump. So it was interesting because I thought about that, especially when we get toward the end and we see what happens. I'm like, okay, well, this is definitely, you can definitely see they're setting up for a sequel, but also the fact that, this guy definitely is doing some shit that no human being could do. Go through. I was super, super curious about that.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of like the one of my biggest pet peeves about the movie is the fact that he is supernatural, or maybe I don't know, maybe that's just their way of keeping him alive so they can franchise it. Hopefully they explain it more, because I was kind of like, there's no way he's alive through all that, and then then sure enough, he's alive. He's, fully aware, and he's killing again. Here comes the sequel, But I've always had a beef with, like, when they have a slasher and they supernaturalize the hell out of it. I mean, if that's even a word. But, they did that with 1984, the season of American Horror Story. They started out to be this really badass meta slasher, you know what I mean? And then they kind of took a supernatural turn towards the end. But, like, a lot of the characters were, like, now ghosts, and they were bound to the camp with their spirits. It wasn't terrible, but, at the same time, it was kind of like, man, like, I kind of wanted to be more down to earth, more realistic. I wanted there to be consequences for, like, if you're going to kill off a character, just kill them off. Like, I don't want to see their ghost. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then that on top of the fact that the season ended with, like, this really happy, oh, I've got closure now kind of ending. And it's like, man, I would have rather just had a dour ending or maybe an open ending where it's like, yeah, I'm totally with you there. Like, when you have this happy-go-lucky ending, sometimes it's just kind of like, eh. Now, if you're doing that to, like, lead into a sequel where you're kind of like, oh no, what's going to happen in the sequel, then it's I think it's better, but,
I mean, you see that. You see that in a lot of films, though. I mean, look at Jason, supernatural being, Freddy.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love supernatural slasher films too. Like Freddy's my guy. I mean, like, come on. But like I said, with art, I just wasn't sure because it's been a while since I've seen All Hallows Eve, if he was that way from the beginning or maybe he made a pact with the devil or something, and then when he dies, he's coming back to keep going. I don't know. I just didn't know. So that really had me super super curious. Like, I wonder.
Now, if that's tied in, if it's something like that, and it's tied into, like, his origin of what made him what he is, and his mother, I guess, going back to his mother, something that she did to him to, like, just psychologically mess him up, then, like, yeah, that I'll be down with that, And which, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it's not, supernatural stuff's not always terrible in movies like this. I feel like they did it really well in this one, the way they handled it.
Yeah.
Even though it was more so implied. Yeah. It was kind of like we've reached the end of the movie, but Art's not really dead, and then we're gonna do a sequel, But I don't know. There's just something about, like, because, like, 1984 was awesome because it was like half of it was just a solid meta slasher, then the other half was like they kind of trailed off and went a little too heavy into the supernatural stuff, Whereas this one, I thought it was kind of cool. And yeah, Jason is, I guess, technically considered supernatural because he just doesn't fucking ever die.
And he kind of teleports. So
pretty much.
Yeah.
But you think I'd be okay with people just not dying because I'm a Dragon Ball fan. Like, no one dies in Dragon Ball. Like, they can only be wished back once. Yeah, okay. But
yeah. Well, like I said, it's not a knock or anything like that. I was kind of curious about. I guess more or less it leads into his origin story, his backstory. I really, really want to know. I really want to know what it. So really, it makes me more interested in the sequel than anything. Like, I really want to see. Not only for I know they're going to get even crazier with the gore and the violence, but also there's a possibility that we could really, like, delve into this Art character and really figure out a lot more about him. That has me interested.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see that. I want to see more into his backstory. So I'm hoping it's in there. I'm hoping it's not just kill after kill. I'm hoping they actually explain things a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. The only issue I could see is, like, I don't want him to spend too much time on, like, his origin and and all that, because I do want to see more of his characters on screen, funny antics. I do want to see some good solid kills,
I think it could be explained very simple just by like some quick back shots of something that happened in his childhood.
Yeah,
You know, that gives the audience the sense of, okay, that explains this, you know. So
Yeah. No,
maybe.
definitely.
Maybe. We'll see.
But going back, just one more thing with his antics when Victoria crawls through that little space and she's like separated from him and he comes back and he's trying to get to her. And then he comes back with the horn and starts honking the horn at her.
Oh my gosh.
I died every time that happens, man. My ass off when he does that shit.
Yeah.
I forgot about that scene.
It's just like he's taunting her with the horns.
Yeah. It's so random. She's sitting there screaming. He's like, hunker, 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 hunker. Oh my god. Yeah, just stuff like that, man. It's like,
well, you think it's over at this point. You think, okay, he's leaving. He can't leave his victim behind.
No way, man. You
Yeah.
gotta come back, finish the job.
And you hear the
Could've been
police
the-
sirens, and you're like, okay, well, she's safe, but is she? Yeah. And of course, he drives through the garage door in the truck, and the music's playing.
Great, dude. That shit was crazy too. The way that was shot, because
Yeah.
it showed her like leaving, and then a second later, he plows through the door, and I'm like, holy shit! It looked like he almost hit her. Like the way it was shot, it's crazy, man.
Well, it's explained through dialogue that she did get hit by the truck, so they had to pull it off. Yeah, I mean, I know it looked realistic.
It looked like it could have hit her too.
Yeah.
It could have easily been run over. So yeah, that was pretty intense, man. It was pretty gnarly.
Now, apparently, apparently he's a bit of a cannibal too. Because like, why not? Like, he's done everything from shit art to
shit of art or art.
Yeah, he does.
Shitty painting.
But he whispers something in her ear. If you remember that scene, he leans in, he whispers something. So he does talk.
Really? I must have missed that. I didn't see that.
I'm about to go back and watch that now.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, he says something in her ear right before the police run up, and then he's eating her face. Like he says something. So whatever it was,
I did not notice that. And I've seen this movie a bunch of times. I never noticed that. I thought it just jumped. I thought it just cut to him just gnawing on her face. Man, wow.
Now, unless I'm wrong, I do remember seeing that because I was like, "What did he say to her?" You know. So it was quick. It was really quick.
Oh, and now I'm curious. Like, what could he have said? Like, oh man, it's wild.
Yeah. Whatever it was. I mean,
I'm gonna definitely have to go back and check that out.
That's got me wanting to go back and look to see. Nice, dude. Good eye.
Pretty size, yeah.
Yep.
So.
But yeah, so he's now eating her face. The cops come in, and they're just pretty much like freeze.
Yeah.
I like how they're giving him like a second to lift his hand up, and he's like, lift your hand. It's like, just take him out. Obviously he's doing something bad.
Obviously he's covered in blood.
Yeah.
And that was my thing. It's like, I'm sitting there like, shoot him. Like, what are you doing?
I love another little thing that they, did that was pretty cool was the New York accents in this movie are spot on. Like, you could tell they were actors from New York because they had the accents like to a T down pat.
Yeah.
Like the cops and then the two pizza guys, like they sounded authentic.
Yeah.
Loved it. It really felt like New York. It was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I did pick up on that, especially from the pizzeria guys.
The guys, and then the cops too. The cops had like an accent. Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. What did you guys think of the snarky, sassy coroner?
Oh yeah, he was cool.
was more snarky than anything else.
Yeah.
Really.
And that's one thing I really like about the movie too, is like the dialogue, the acting was really good, you know? Like it wasn't like overly cheesy indie acting, you know, like it was just solid delivery of the lines. You know, when the coroner was kind of like, you know, when they were like, man, how do you, because he was asking where his food was, you know, he's like, he wanted something to eat. They're like, how can you eat and do this? He's like, well, you know, I'm doing this a long time. Like, and then the guy was like, well, this one's different. This is a rough one. He's like, well, once you've seen a baby microwaved or something like that, like,
Yeah, an 8-month-old microwave. You've seen it all.
yeah, and they were like, you had to ask. Yeah, so the snarky, like, back and forth banter between the characters I thought was kind of cool. You know, it makes you, kind of takes you out of the moment for a second.
Yeah,
and, you know, so they set it up well, you know. Like I had a feeling, you know, the way they were portraying that scene, I was like, something's gonna happen, you know. He's not dead. He's gonna come back, obviously, because I already knew about the sequel, but I did not expect the supernatural stuff though. I thought they were just gonna have Art just come back, like, hey, I'm not dead. But then they can't explain like why he, you know, well, he shot himself. How's he not dead? So
yeah,
I'm thinking maybe that's why I'm thinking maybe the supernatural stuff's kind of like a tack on.
Yeah. Well, when he shot himself, what the crazy thing was when he shot himself, and you know they get him in the body bag, and then the coroner, you know, unzips the body bag. He's smiling, so his teeth are close. Like he shot himself and stuff to be a whole. It's weird. Like you don't expect it to be. You don't expect him to be staring at him smiling like that.
Oh yeah, that was creepy right off the rip again.
I was like, "Whoa, dude!" Fucking. That was off kilter. Like that was really unsettling.
You know, which I like the line that he delivers. He goes to unzip one body bag and he was like, you know what? Let's go see the man of the hour.
Yeah, man of the hour.
Yeah. As soon as he unzips it, the lights start flickering, stuff like that. And again, that's where your paranormal comes in. You know, 'cause it's very paranormal like.
Right, you know,
the radio goes off and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing that I really loved, and again, the one thing I really love about this entire film is the detail. Everything is detailed perfectly, in my opinion, all the way down to that last scene when he grabs that corner and you see that back shot of Art's head. You see the fucking hole in the back of the dude's head with the brain matter just kind of dangling around back there. It's like, damn. That's pretty awesome. I mean, again, eye to detail is amazing on this film.
Yeah.
Another scene. Now that you say that, because I have it written down here on my notes, and I wanted to say it. When Art is holding the doll baby in the boiler room, it looked like a boiler room. And the doll lady was like trying to talk him into handing the doll back to her, because in her mind that's a real baby, like that's her baby. She doesn't understand that it's a doll. Like so, you know, she's trying to talk him into, you know, giving her the baby. She's sitting there, you know, trying to get on his level and speak to him. But the fact that Art he doesn't talk throughout the movie, but when he's telling her he does the thing. But as he does it, the pipes, like the steam comes out the pipe, so they make the sound for him. I thought that was really, really a cool attention to detail.
Oh man,
yeah, I did notice that. Yeah,
that was neat.
Yeah,
there's good. The Damien, he's a good.
You know what? Something else that I just got to thinking about. When he puts on the woman's skin, what does that remind you of?
When he puts on the woman's skin?
Yeah, what would that be paying a homage to?
Silence of the Lambs?
Texas Chainsaw.
Ooh.
When Leatherface puts the woman's, you know, makeup on and stuff when he's preparing the food.
Yeah, when he's got the pretty lady mask on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude. Yeah. I don't think he went as far as to put the breasts on, but yeah. That was pretty, neat little
you gotta change it up.
Yeah, yeah. Got to. You got to make it more modern, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
More of a modern touch on there. But yeah, there's a lot of little cool things that he does in this film that really brings up the forefront of him being a pretty good filmmaker. That's just gonna, to me, he's just gonna get better if he keeps on. Now, I don't know if he's gonna do the Adam Green thing where he does like the first two, and then kind of like the third one he kind of hands it off to somebody else. Or I'm kind of curious. Like I know I'm getting ahead of myself with the possibility of a franchise here, but since we've already confirmed a sequel and he's doing it, I wonder if, because I can't imagine it not being successful. I mean, people are clamoring for a Terrifier 2. So if it gets to a point where we get a third one, is Damien going to helm that one as well, or is he going to find he's going to hand off the opportunity to one of the guys that have been in his crew for a while, like Adam Green did in Hatchet 3. I don't know. It's kind of curious, man. I think he can. Yeah, I think he can do as many as he wants, man, because he knows his character and he gets the most out of the character in this film. So to me, it's like, dude, this is your baby. You do it.
Right.
Definitely.
Especially if we get a fucking crazy bonkers Terrifier 2, which I have a feeling that we're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a fun one.
We'll come out soon.
So we go into our ratings now.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gave this movie a 4-star out of 5 on Letterboxd. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought his on-screen antics were awesome. Looking back, this movie's simple. But I have to rate it based off of just what I see. Great gore. It's a great slasher. It's the fact that it is a director who, up and coming director, had never really directed anything before other than All Hallows Eve on a relatively small budget. $800,000 is, you're like, wow, that's a lot. No, this is not a lot. not a lot at all, considering it is an indie film.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. I thought that and I can see where you're coming from now, how the horror community considers Art the Clown a possible candidate for a new horror icon, which I think would be awesome. Definitely well deserved, and looking forward to the sequel. So, but 4 stars is my rating.
That's good, man. That's honestly, that's right where I'm at. I'm at 4 stars as well. Like I said, it's not the greatest slasher film in the world. This plot is super, super thin. It's pretty basic, as basic as you can get. But it doesn't make it bad. It's still a fun time. It's thoroughly entertaining. I'm not 100% on board with Art using a gun. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of it, but it is what it is. The decision was made, and it's okay. Like I said, maybe. I'm never going to get over it because this is one of those things in slasher films I don't like. Just me personally, but I like that Art has a little bit of. I wrote this in my notes. I like that Art has a little Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers in him, where he likes to display his victims out. And he does that in this movie, and that was pretty neat. I dug that. Like I said, super basic story. The acting was pretty solid though, man. Like we talked about a little bit here. It really is. You get on board with, especially the banter between Tara and Dawn. I loved it. I thought it was cool. They really felt like genuine friends, right? Really close. So that makes it even more heartbreaking when you see Tara having to watch her friend get sawed in half. It's fucked up, because they really feel tight. So that's kind of rough, man. But I'm with you, man. I'm at 4 stars as well. It's fun. I enjoy it. I watch it around October, regularly now since I've had it. So I don't see that tradition ending anytime soon. So it's definitely as far as replayability and rewatchability, it's high for me. So I enjoy it. 4 stars, solid.
Well, for me, I actually rated it a little bit higher. I rated it at 4.5.
Yeah.
And the reason why I didn't give it a 5 star is because, again, I didn't like the approach with the gun. That's honestly the only thing that I really don't like about this film, was the fact that he used the gun, and the fact that he used it so much. Like, okay, one time, that's fine to get her on her knees, and then, go the approach as a classic slasher. But again, this is a more modern film, so that's what I got to take in consideration as well. Overall, the as far as a modern icon, the reason why I rated it so high as well is because I had that hope that there is a modern icon, and this guy fits the bill for me. Art the Clown is just so fun to follow and watch, and he's just so charismatic and crazy and just off the wall, and I mean, just never fails to amaze, scene after scene. He just always delivers. So that's the reason why I rated it so high. And the other thing was also not just that, but I wrote something in my notes. I didn't really talk about it, but some of the shots that this director did was quite amazing. All the way down to when he did use the gun. At one point, the camera kind of pans over at the gun, and it's just smoking. And again, that's just eye to detail. And that's what I can best explain this movie is. It's got full detail. I love this film, so that's why I rated it so high.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if you're a true fan of horror, which we are, then you can't help but love this movie. It is a love letter to slashers, slasher fans especially, and so. At the end of the day, when you watch the movie, like, did you enjoy it? You know what I mean? Did it make you laugh? Did it make you cry? Did it put you on the edge of your seat? All the cliche questions that you might get. But like, and that's my thing. Like, sometimes you got to rate a movie based on like what you see. But if you have like a personal connection to a movie, you might want to rate it higher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And more of like because like some movies we watch, and like I watched The Prowler objectively because I had no ties with the movie. So Tony's review of The Prowler is going to be higher than mine. But this movie here, I think if you're a slasher fan, you can't help but like throw a couple of extra stars in there because of just how well shot this movie is. The characters are fun. All of that. I really, the cast is already looking much larger for the second movie. So I'm really hoping for like that typical slasher cast, Well, you got to have the one character in there, the Shelley.
God, have to.
You got to have a Shelley,
Well, when I think of higher, like the bigger cast, I think a higher body count. That's what I think of as a slasher fan. So I'm like excited. I want more kills. I want more carnage. Like, I'm ready for that shit, man.
Everybody dies. Yeah. So, and this movie had a pretty decent body count too.
Yeah, it did. There's a lot of
even like the beginning, we get a kill. It's not even Art the Clown.
Yeah.
Going back to the beginning.
It's actually our survivor.
It's our survivor, yeah. Which, it shows you the psychological damage that it did to her, because she's got some crazy PTSD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Also going back to the supernatural element, like, does Art, like, he let her live, in a sense. Like, he didn't really kill her. He didn't kill her before the cops get there. Did he somehow put a hex on her or curse on her to, like, possess her and have her be a killer? I don't know. We don't know. We'll have to find out in the sequel, I guess. Or maybe she's just so fucked up she's feels the need to,
That would be the only explanation for how she's able to see, because she has fucking no eyes.
There's no eyes.
Here's the point. Here's a point. Okay. In the hospital scene, when she's going home with her parents, the nurse says, "Oh, we just have a bunch of laughs with her. She's so funny."
That's interesting. Oh,
Clowns
wow.
make you laugh.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, dude.
that'd be a cool little twist. Something you wouldn't expect.
Nice
Yeah.
little tie in there. I think
It's an infect film.
Mm-hmm.
Ours infecting his victims.
Oh man, they would throw us completely through a loop if that happened. Holy shit!
Half the cities are running around painting the walls with shit. Everybody's missing eyes, and
Everybody's
that was a cool little makeup deal. You know, right off the bat, like you see her in the interview, and like her face is just mangled.
yeah.
The way they made it up, like she doesn't even look like the same person.
Oh.
And she has got like the one little stubby eye, you know.
Yeah, little tiny.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, it was just crazy cool how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
But oh yeah, so guess we're about ready to land this plane.
Yep.
Yeah, this was it's been a good one. It's been fun covering this one. So, and we're only getting started. Like we still got 2 more months of slasher month or slashers.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go, bro. Buckled and ready to go.
So
Next week is roulette episode.
Yeah, man.
it is.
For it. Can't wait.
I'm excited about
I
it.
got a lot of catching up to do. I got a lot of movies to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. We appreciate you watching once again. And as just a quick reminder, follow us on YouTube, share with your friends, follow us on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you can, anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you want to continue following the show, we do most of our activity in the Facebook group, so you definitely want to join us there. We're on Twitter as well. I run the Twitter, so I try to post stuff and update you there. So if you prefer Twitter, we're there. If you prefer Facebook, whatever, we're there too. So, yeah. Anything else to add, gentlemen?
No, I've been really enjoying the discussions in the group, man. Especially the some of the posts that we've been getting lately.
Yeah.
The name your favorite horror posters. That was pretty cool. We got a lot of activity.
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude. Love stuff like that, man. If we can continue to do stuff like that, that would be awesome.
Definitely. We always welcome open discussions.
Absolutely.
It's kind of what drives us to do what we do. We love communicating with you guys, and it's always a blast. I love every time I see a notification for the group, because I never know what I'm going to get. One of our listeners actually posted the fact that he went back and rewatched Hostel Part 1 and 2. And there was like a little mini discussion there, about Eli Roth, because he's very polarizing, I guess.
It's very polarizing.
Like
I
either
think
you
him
really,
and Rob Zombie are the most polarizing, people in the world.
yeah, and it's like either you really like them or you really hate them.
There's very little in between.
Yeah, I've never really had an issue with either. They just have their own take on horror, and
they have their own style. They have their own unique style. So
yeah, and people have a tendency to be a little overly critical, especially nowadays. And there was a discussion a while back. I was listening to a podcast, and somebody wrote in and was complaining about some of the dialogue in Eli Roth's movies. I think it might have been the first Hostel. They were mad that he had used,
Definitely not PC.
No, he's not PC at all. And it's like, I appreciate that, and I think that's why a lot of people tend to lean towards not liking him, because he's not, he's not a PC guy, and he'll write certain dialogue in his movies because it's appropriate for that setting, and it's kind of like, and even he had a rebuttal about it and was like, you're upset because I used a certain word in the movie, but you're not upset at the guy who got his eyeballs burned out of his skull, and he's got a point. It's like, it's a horror movie. Like, Jesus, a lady got hung upside down, but then getting sawed in half in this movie. But Lord forbid if Art the Clown says a naughty word.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
All hell's gonna break loose.
yeah, like there's, sorry, but there's much worse.
Oh,
And, and we may have touched on that before too, how there were certain things in the 70s that were accepted because it wasn't so weird,
big time.
But then there's also like more modern day films, kind of like Jeepers Creepers, where you find out like the director had been doing certain things, and that's understandable. That's completely understandable. But at the same token, you got to realize that like, there's they're just trying to set an atmosphere, like it's horror movies are very polarizing in themselves, they're very just raw, for lack of a better word,
All and unapologetic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, we love discussions like that. We welcome discussions like that, and we would definitely love for you guys to join us. So definitely don't delay. Like if you enjoy listening to the show, we do this for you guys. Like we enjoy doing this. We love seeing people's reactions on the show. Gotten some pretty positive feedback lately. Our YouTube videos are pretty simplistic, just our mugs, but we do want to eventually get to a point where we can edit, maybe edit in video clips of the things we're talking about and screenshots. And, I've thought about that a lot lately, and that stuff takes time and money. And, it's just something that we're going to have to like work towards, we've even thought about doing a Patreon, maybe putting out extra episodes for you guys for $2 a month, maybe, if that's something y'all are interested in. We'd love to hear your feedback. but yeah, we greatly appreciate the continued support.
Yeah,
and with all that being said, we'll go ahead and close this one out. Another great episode in the books. We'll see you guys next week for our roulette episode.
Later, guys.
Later.